Hi, in this series I'm going to talk about some of the common tropes found in new religious movements, what some people call cults. Charismatic leader, an impending apocalypse, psychotropic drugs, aliens, child abuse, and yoga. Yeah, yoga. But I wanted to start this series by talking about the cult that was largely believed to be the most dangerous religious movement of the past few hundred years. A cult so dangerous it probably never existed at all. I'm Lili Wilkinson. Let's talk about sects. In 1980, psychiatrist Lawrence Pazder and his patient, now wife Michelle Smith, published Michelle Remembers. In the midst of a therapy session for her depression, Michelle screamed non-stop for 25 minutes before starting to speak in the voice of a 5-year-old. 600 hours of hypnosis later, her alleged repressed memories were fully uncovered. Michelle claimed to have been abused by a satanic cult as a child. She said she was tortured, sexually assaulted, held in a cage, witnessed several murders, and was rubbed with the blood and organs of dead babies. This allegedly all culminated in an 81-day ceremony in a municipal graveyard attended by over 100 Satanists, where the devil himself was summoned. But Jesus, the Virgin Mary, and the Archangel Michael intervened and healed Michelle, which is why she bore no physical scars. Many people are dubious about this story, given Michelle's attendance records indicated she didn't miss any school in this period, and also nobody noticed the massive satanic ritual where Jesus and the devil both put in personal appearances, despite it taking place in a graveyard bordered on 3 sides by residential neighbourhoods. In 1983, a woman called Judy Johnson in California went to the police claiming that her son's preschool, the Mcmartin Preschool, was a front for a satanic ritual abuse cult. She claimed that the staff were abusing the children, that they had sexual encounters with animals, and that 2 of the staff members, school administrator Peggy Mcmartin Bucky and her son Ray Bucky, could fly. Ray Bucky, it is worth mentioning, was Johnson's ex-husband, and Johnson was later hospitalised for schizophrenia and alcoholism. Johnson's claims were enough to trigger an investigation where the children were interviewed by therapists claiming to be experts in satanic ritual abuse. The children confessed to seeing witches fly. They said they'd been flushed down toilets to secret underground tunnels where they were photographed naked. One child, when shown a series of photographs by a lawyer, identified Chuck Norris as one of his abusers. The trial lasted 7 years and cost $15 million, making it at the time the longest and most expensive criminal case in the history of the US legal system. It resulted in no convictions. In 1992, psychologist Dr. Corydon Hammond claimed to have uncovered a vast conspiracy that originated with a Jewish doctor in Nazi Germany who now worked for the CIA. According to Hammond, the most powerful and elite members of society were part of a secret satanic cult which used abuse and mind control to create sleeper agents that could be activated at any time. These agents were trained as assassins, child sex workers, and drug traffickers. The fact that none of them had any memories of the abuse only served as further evidence of the cult's extreme power and control. Satanic Panic was a perfect storm, sparked by the rise of evangelical Christianity and the discovery of an epidemic of child abuse. Celebrities were on talk shows talking about how they'd been abused as children, and evangelicals were claiming that Satan was behind it all. Everyone was on board. Even the feminist Ms. magazine ran a cover story about a woman who claimed to have been raped with crucifixes and forced to cannibalize her headless baby sister. The thing is, memory isn't like a DVR. You can't just rewind and replay. Studies have shown that memories can be implanted, and poorly trained, overconfident therapists were doing just that. I'm absolutely not saying that victims of abuse shouldn't be given the benefit of the doubt. Abuse is real, and good psychological and psychiatric therapy can be invaluable in helping victims. And it's probable that many victims claiming satanic ritual abuse had been abused in some way. But the coercive techniques used during this period were themselves abusive. Children were physically restrained, with food and drink withheld, and interrogated with extremely leading questions, and only released once they'd told their investigators what they wanted to hear. Children were being coerced not only to confess wild, fantastic stories of murder, cannibalism, and black magic, but also to dob in their friends as victims. As a result, many children were removed from families where it's possible no abuse ever occurred. People were arrested on the flimsiest of evidence. Cheap Halloween mask, devil-worshipping attire. The bones of a buried family pet, ritual sacrifices have definitely taken place in this backyard. In 1988, a paper presented to senior law enforcement officials in the US claimed Satanists were responsible for the deaths of more than 60,000 Americans each year. 60,000 deaths each year was double the homicide rate in the 1980s. So the two possible scenarios were either there was a massive secret underground religion that was murdering tens of thousands of people but left absolutely no physical evidence of their existence, or there was something seriously dodgy about these so-called experts in satanic ritual abuse. My personal definition of a cult is an organisation, movement or social group that seeks to control people by alienating them from their friends and family. And according to that definition, one of the most dangerous cults of the 20th century was not an international conspiracy of murderous Satanists, but instead a hysterical, Salem-esque witch hunt that uncovered exactly 0 actual satanic cults. Thanks for watching this episode of Let's Talk About Sects. References can be found down there, and if you want to know more about my forthcoming culty novel, you can click up there. I hope to see you back here next week when I'm going to be talking about murder, mouse eating, and mass weddings.